Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're looking at the Star Wars Galaxy Squadron or Micro Galaxy Squadron. We have the B-Wing. So we have the old Galoob B-Wing here. You know, when Galoob had made it, it was all done in one piece. And when we have our new one done by Hasbro itself, it's actually in two different pieces here. So it's going to be interesting to kind of compare them together and see the differences here and see how well everything goes. Now I'll try and keep everything on camera here, although it's one of those I'm looking a whole different direction here. Okay, so from what Galoob had given us all those years ago, I mean, we had the same features that you had in the original movie, where the cockpit can move around so you can keep everything lined up. The pilot didn't get kind of dizzy or whatever else doing the circles. So we had that availability. We do have landing gear that come down. So we have the landing gear down, and then we can actually land here on the ground here. And it supports everything up. It looks pretty good. The cockpit does open. And I think we had a little bit more room than what we're getting today, but I guess we're going to find out here in a minute. Now, I do have two of these, so I have one still in the package, and I just took this one out of the package, so we do have it in the two different parts. So as we look at it, it's the two pieces here, looking at everything together. This is an expanded size, especially for the engine. When we look at those side by side, we do have a bigger engine housing. The engines themselves look a little bit bigger, a little bit more beefed up. So I don't know if you want to see that it's like a Mark 1 compared to this being a Mark 2. The cockpit is shaped a little differently. So this is a little bit more streamlined shape on the cockpit. Now if I can get this to open. One of the things I've found with one of the other ships I got is the cockpit, the hinge there is a little weaker. Just the way they have it, it could have been contoured a little bit better. And looking inside there, hopefully you guys can see this very well, that seat does not give us a lot of extra room. You need to kind of fit the feet down there in comparison to our old Galoob one. But I'm sure our pilot here, we have our B-Wing pilot, I'm sure that he will fit in there. We will get him in here right now, just because we want to just see how well he fits in. So fitting them in sideways here. Hopefully you guys can see this. My fat finger's in the way. It seems a little harder than what we used to have trying to get them in there. And then we can close that up. He does fit in there pretty decent. That's not a problem. Now let's kind of move our cockpit around. And this has some ratcheting going on here. So that is a little bit different in comparison to the old Galoob one in that regard. So let's get this fitted together. We have our single joint. Snap this all together here. Oh, come on. And there we are. Now the wings, they are much thinner here. And I will say in this regard, you know, it might be the fact that we have better plastics or better use of plastics today than what we had in the past. And I will say that I don't remember how many years ago it was that Galoob had made the old action fleet. So just kind of keeping all that in mind. We do have a nice look with it being longer, much like the N1 Starfighter. Even with the engine being a little bit bigger here, it doesn't look like it's kind of squat. I mean, it elongates it, it gives it a little bit more room. I think it fits things. This clicks back a little bit better. These don't click at all. I mean, you have to really just push it all the way down. These are clicking shut, so after a certain point, it does close itself. Now we do have our landing gear here. If I can figure out exactly how that opens. Looks like it comes down this way towards the our heavy blasters here. So it is able to land here. get this one out of the way so hopefully you guys can see, or maybe I should put it up on there so you can see it a little bit better. So we do have that going on there. Now, let me drop this down just a little bit so we have a little bit more surface area so you can see this sitting there. It looks like it is a little bit on a tilt here, trying to prop the guns up a little bit more than what we normally had in the past. With the landing gear here, I believe this one looks like it is just straight, nice and even. Slight difference between the two of them. One of those things that we just have to kind of get over. Looking at all the play features on the bottom here, we do have a little bit of a harder surface. Looks like it's a beefed up surface for it to land on is what I'm really trying to say here. Where this, the reason why we have the holes here is this was actually meant to go onto a stand and sit here on that stand. We don't have that on this. So this is actually meant to sit flat down on a table or shelf or whatever, more so than the other. Or if you wanted to, you could maybe hang it up somewhere so it could just be suspended from a wire. That's a possibility as well. But that's really the big features on this. The engines on here, they do seem to reflect a little bit more. And looking at this, it looks like it shows that a little bit on the camera. I hope you guys get a good view of that. It does seem like it reflects the light a little bit, where when I just pull this back, that's just painted red in there. So we have a little extra kind of visual effect, to say it in that regard. As far as, we're using the same color schemes in a lot of regards. We still have that circle being used, and it's being used two different spots on the bottom, where here it's the same thing. So they did take the old original design and they did really upgrade it. So it does work pretty well. I think it looks good. I think it works pretty good. Actually, I do like the old cockpit a little bit better than the new one, because when you do look inside there, and if I take our figure out of here, and of course the more that gets opened, the easier this gets. I'm hoping you see this. He fits in here so much easier. I think I could almost fit two characters. Yeah, I could get two different guys in there. We have plenty of room in there. So when you look in there, there's a ton of room in there. That works really nice. The new one is a little bit more compact. And like I said, if you were to look at this and say this is the Mark I, this is a Mark II, and say that they didn't need that extra room in there, and then they made it a little bit more compact, it would make some sense as a design feature. Keep the pilot nice and safe, secure inside the cockpit, so he's not rolling around. Of course, my fat fingers trying to get a little pilot in here is not the easiest. I do get him in there though. And as you can see, his legs are underneath here. So where in the old one, it's just sitting straight out here. It's more just throw it in there and you're good to go. But that is our differences between them. It is kind of nice to see that, when they're redoing all these, that we do have these available. And that is part of the reason why I was looking at it as, I do have my old glue ones. They're sitting in boxes, kind of up into my rafters. So, hey, why not pull these out and see what the differences are? These are wonderful ships, and kind of nice to see them, see what they do for updating it. So, with that, thank you so very much for stopping by. It's wonderful having you stop by and see what silliness we're getting into for the day. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.